Moving into the green economy and the just energy transition in the automotive sector, this as the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Minister Ebrahim Patel, releases 2 white papers today that will be introduced in the country in phases that will then see the rollout, for instance, of the introduction of electric vehicles in the country as part of this just transition. I'm going to invite him into the conversation this afternoon to just give us a sense of the rollout of these 2 white papers, but the most important one being what the industry role players have been calling for around the electric vehicle and the introduction of these particular vehicles in the country. We're hearing you saying around 2026 or so, we'll then see the first vehicle being rolled out here in the country. Welcome to the SABC, sir.
Well, thank you very much. And it's a great day for South Africa because at the same moment when global leaders are meeting in the Middle East at COP28 to look at climate change and how we can make the world more sustainable, industries to grow, South Africa is releasing a commercialization strategy on green hydrogen. This will be the energy source of the future, and it's releasing a white paper on electric vehicles that will allow our very large auto industry to make a transition. There's more than 110,000 people employed directly in the making of cars and the parts that go into cars. And Europe and the United Kingdom are now changing their regulatory frame that from 2035 they will no longer allow petrol-driven cars to be bought. So we need to make sure that we can continue to access that market. About half of all the cars we make, and we make more than 500,000 cars every year here in South Africa, about half of that gets sold in Europe and in the UK. So when you see a bakkie or a car in Europe, chances are it would be made here by South African hands. We need to sustain that industry, and this white paper sets out how we're going to achieve it over the next number of years so that we protect jobs, but also the auto industry has contributed greatly to advanced manufacturing in South Africa. We are Africa's most advanced industrial base. We're the biggest producer of cars, and we want to retain that position.
And also this coming through at a time when we know very well that there have been difficulties and challenges around the energy, around the transport and logistics sector, and you've been frank about really how we need to do away and mitigate here so that our ambitions where this white paper is concerned is not something that is basically not achieved.
So the white paper takes a very realistic and clear view about the context that we face now. In order to make this transition successful, we need to fix the energy problems, not only because we need reliable energy to produce cars, but if South Africans in future were to buy electric vehicles, they need to have reliable electricity to charge those batteries. So we see a 2-stage approach. In the first phase, we're mainly going to be producing cars to export to other parts of the world. In the second phase, we're shifting more of the domestic market to electric vehicles. But we can't do that while we have load shedding and while so much of our energy is still high emission, that it still is not green enough. So that is the first leg of it. The second thing that we're doing through this transition is recognizing we've got to fix the infrastructure at the ports and the rail lines, because every car consists of more than 5,000 parts. They need to come swiftly and quickly through our ports. We need to be able to take the finished cars and move them to ports and export them to the rest of the world. We sell cars to more than 150 countries across the world. So our transport logistics infrastructure needs to be fixed. And then thirdly, we recognize that as we transition to electric vehicles, there'll be new challenges. How to ensure that workers who currently work at petrol stations are supported, how to enable more batteries and other products to be produced here on the African continent, that we don't sell our raw materials, our minerals, to other parts of the world and then import finished goods. We need to industrialize off the back of this opportunity. And we're talking now to neighboring countries to have an Africa-wide strategy to beneficiate, to add more value here in South Africa so that we really give it a boost for industrialization. And this is where the green hydrogen commercialization strategy can also energize South Africa, because there too there's a lot of opportunities now for new investment and for expanding production. So these two together is firmly putting South Africa on a green growth path.
Minister Patel, thank you very much, sir, for your time. Is coming through there as the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, telling us about these plans that they have in place, going to be rolled out in phases here in the country, but the main goal being to do away with those internal combustion cars or fuel cars, just to ensure that they welcome a regime of electric vehicles into the country, and also talking about infrastructure development, skills ramping up, and ensuring that no one is left behind where this industry is concerned. I'm Katlego Logodi for SABC News in Pretoria.